are a real threat now. You know, it's beyond them at this point almost, but they do use them for propaganda tools. They are using them to topple these governments.
That's a great analogy of the Frankenstein.
Yes. I mean, they want us to go and then, you know, fight Syria now as well. They want us to take out that regime. You know, the Libyan rebels who took out Gaddafi were sitting there with Al-Qaeda guys right there with them. Those were the ISIS guys. So this whole thing is just one big, you know, propaganda tool. This is ridiculous.
Now ISIS is double-crossing the so-called non-radical Muslim jihadis in Syria, in Libya, all over, and killing them, and then just blowing up and burning down the airport because they're a bunch of demons, and then flying off in the airplanes. And then people say, oh, that's not a threat. Bull! They're getting ready to launch terror attacks. You can see it all being prepared, and then they're going to use it to take our freedom. We're down there to expose where they're saying the main attack may come, to expose our borders wide open, and to expose that it's a fraud to take our liberties regardless of what it is.
What does ISIS do? They behead people, they crucify people, they murder people in mass numbers. What happens in Juarez, Alex? The exact same thing. That is a great spot, a strategic location for ISIS because they fit in. They do the exact same stuff. And we now know that ISIS is the largest funded terrorist organization in the world. And why is that? Because they keep taking over these oil refineries in the Middle East. Right down the road to my left is a Western refinery. It's a very large oil refinery right across the border, maybe 300 yards away from Juarez.
And they wouldn't be able to take that over. They could blow it up. Or the globalists could blow it up, have some ISIS patsies, kill them in a helicopter attack, and still use that to take our freedoms. Bottom line, these Frankensteins got created and funded and turned loose by the criminals running our government. As Rand Paul has said, Obama has created a jihadist wonderland. That's what we're saying. It's the truth. And I have never supported all these wars. You can't trust Obama to run airstrikes that'll actually take them out. That's why they're clearly bombing a few empty trucks and you know, because it's blowing up in Obama's face. But yeah, you basically have to bomb ISIS now in Syria and Iraq. But the type of airstrikes we're seeing, 1 or 2 a day, is nothing but show, Joe. I mean,
yeah, it's not effective. It's not effective in any way. In any combat way, what they're doing is ineffective. They might be taking away small numbers. We actually have the manpower. If we had a legitimate government in place with a president who actually loved his country, we could take this out in a matter of days and be done with it, not have to worry about it. But like I said, they're his creation. That's his baby. He's not going to kill it. He wants to instead continue giving it money, give it more weapons, and put fear in the hearts of Americans and try to take our liberties away.
That's it. And what's crazy, Joe, is that our government openly funded the Muslim Brotherhood, openly funded ISIS, openly let them have bases. Our own military.
And people and Americans will clearly still go, no, that's not true. That's not true. You can give them the information. We could even bring ISIS and have them in the same room as Obama with La Raza hugging, and people to go, nah, that's not real.
Undoubtedly, we knew from Colonel Schaefer days after Benghazi, he said exactly what's been confirmed now with the MPADs and the Turkish ambassador and our ambassador being killed and the stand-down being ordered to cover it up for plausible deniability when they use those MPADs. Why did Obama want Al-Qaeda, now called IS, to have MPADs, Joe? Because they want plausible deniability when they shut down air traffic in Europe or the U.S. with those MPADs. I'm telling you, they're going to use Al-Qaeda in a deal with Saudi Arabia to bring in martial law in America. I'm telling you, you can see that this is one of their major plans. I don't know if they're going to do it. Hopefully exposing it will stop them, Joe.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, because we saw how quick martial law can go into effect, you know, in that 2 weeks we were in Ferguson. It was mind-blowing to see how quick they were able to enforce that and then start putting in curfews and shooting at the crowds and attacking journalists so the truth couldn't get out. That's what, if they let this happen, if we don't expose this, Ferguson can happen all across the country. And that's what we have to stop from happening.
They've been trying to start a civil war, Joe. I totally agree. And again, we're not demonizing the police or military. They're in the middle like citizens. I want to come back and ask you about other things you've learned while you're there. I also want to get later you to flip behind the camera and get Josh Owens, the cameraman's take, because he's also a reporter. I want to get his view on what he's seen. I'm Alex Jones, and your host. And folks, I've seen a minority of folks on the YouTube videos of Joe saying, oh, this is fear-mongering. No, ISIS is taking over major countries right now. They're a real group of nuts. I'm the guy that exposed 9/11 as a false flag, folks. Okay?
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Our big story. Gun owners react as politicians continue to ban high-capacity magazines state by state.
I think that these weapons ought to be stopped.
Magazine restrictions have already happened in 9 states. Staffed with formal special operations personnel, GunMagWarehouse.com is the only company that specializes in gun magazines. GunMagWarehouse.com has the largest selection of the magazines you should stock up on. Go now to GunMagWarehouse.com before it happens in your state. Get it before you regret it.
For all our loyal listeners, Galpin Soap Company is proud to offer a month-long Labor Day sale. Get the Superstar 1200 collection, 65 pounds of bars, laundry, dish soap, and shampoo. Ship freight-free to the lower 48 at 5starsoap.com. Or enter to win the same Superstar 1200 collection at GCNlive.com. The Superstar 1200 collection is estimated to last up to 2 years and save up to $1,000. Sale and contest ends September 30th. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. We all have our own idea about what being safe and secure means. The door's locked, bills are paid, you've got a job that keeps the lights on, and a home to call your own. But what happens when Mother Nature throws a curveball?
I'm telling you to take cover.
Are you prepared to live without electricity or passable roads for weeks at a time? Do you even have a plan B? If you do, are you willing to bet your life on it?
Children left with no homes.
And no one's coming to help them.
The first step towards self-reliance in the face of disaster is a visit to MyPatriotSupply.com. There you'll find the absolute best prices on storable foods, non-GMO seeds, emergency water filtration devices, and so much more. All orders over $49 qualify for free shipping in the lower 48 states. Call 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927 and speak to one of our preparedness advisors today. Or visit us at MyPatriotSupply.com. Remember, before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare.
This is an announcement for all people who want to take a risk-free challenge to whiten their teeth in 5 minutes. By calling now, you can whiten your teeth in 5 minutes using clinically proven power swabs. This risk-free challenge is for people whose smile has been yellowed by coffee, tea, red wine, or smoking. The Power Swabs 5-minute challenge is available by responding to this advertisement. If lines are busy, try again. Because the Power Swabs 5-minute challenge is exclusive, it's not available in drugstores. Power Swabs was formulated by Dr. Martin Ginniger and whitens teeth with a patented tooth detergent and whitening agent. It's so effective, we challenge you to try it for 5 minutes to see how white your smile could be. Get it risk-free. Dial 1-800-281-6805. That's 1-800-281-6805. Transform your smile into a wow, you look great smile. Dial 1-800-281-6805. That's 1-800-281-6805.
I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles.
We see massive preparations for global war, martial law. We see the globalists launching attacks in Ukraine, the Middle East, turning al-Qaeda loose against Russia. We see massive funding being given to these groups. We see the pipelines not being cut off that ISIS has been allowed to control. Saudi Arabia has been allowed control of oil fields in Iraq. They're using that to fund ISIS because they can't get Congress to openly fund ISIS in the attack on Syria. part of the deal is then ISIS will attack Western interests so the West can push the fake war on terror and the rollout of the armored vehicles and the checkpoints that's really going to be used on the Tea Party. And that's all public. ISIS has billions of dollars now and is allowed to operate on Twitter and Facebook, is allowed to fly to the U.S., is allowed to go back to England. They're going to rehabilitate the jihadis. This is an invisible army, secret army. If you don't know about the CIA and black ops, folks, you better learn about it quick. And you're like, well, that's our CIA. No, it's not. It's run by foreign banks. It's collaborator. They don't want a free market in this country. And we have a lot of CIA people and Army people that are telling us what's really happening because they're good guys in the government. Most of the mid-level and low-level and even some high-level are good people. In fact, they've gone so far now that the system's in trouble because our military is decompartmentalized and the police are decompartmentalizing. And the system, Joe Biggs, I think the globalists have gone too far. And when they have ISIS shoot down airliners in Europe or Israel or here, people are going to get major trouble. I don't see them getting away with this, Joe. Here's the thing. My gut, I can see the setup. With all the crazy stuff, the world blowing up, as Hagel has said, this is clearly part of this season of destabilization by design. But Al-Qaeda, known as ISIS, is real. And they are a real threat. Could it be a smokescreen for false flag? We don't know. But we're upset because if you look at the constellation of stuff going on and the preparations, it fits in, and you can, the tumblers are clicking here, folks. And I am just really concerned. Joe?
And they're preparing themselves as well. So that's what I don't get. Why can't we as citizens talk about something like this without being called fearmongers or conspiracy theorists, things like that? We see the setup. We see the end game. We see what's happening behind the curtain. And all we're trying to do is inform people, give them information so they can make really good decisions. You know, that's all we try to do here is bring people facts so they can sit back and look at all the pieces, put the puzzle together themselves and go, oh, okay, I see it now. All right, so the more people who understand what's going on, the better chance we have at defeating this and keeping this from happening. But the sad thing is, though, maybe they will do something like that, and I just hope to God they don't.
Why did our government give Libya and give Syria and part of Iraq to Al-Qaeda and then change its name to confuse everybody because they've been caught funding them, and now we're being told imminent terror attack about to happen? They let them attack us bare minimum on 9/11. And, folks, I'm telling you, the next one's going to be bigger. And so whatever's going to be behind it, I feel another 9/11 coming, and I said it 2 months before 9/11, that I thought they'd blow up the World Trade Centers and blame it on their asset, bin Laden. I'm on record. My spidey sense tells me they're getting ready to do it. I'm trying to expose it, hoping we can stop it. And then if we stop it, people say, oh, there's no big deal. Well, let me tell you, it's a real 9/11 if you're in Libya getting your head chopped off by these people, or in Iraq or Syria, or in India or in Africa. They are launching attacks all over the world on shopping malls. They're blowing stuff up every day in Nigeria. These people are out of control.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, it's not a hoax to these people, like you said, in Iraq and in the town of Aribi, where people are just being murdered. It is mind-blowing. And people see this, and they still want to think, it can't happen here. It can't happen here. But we've let stuff happen. Pearl Harbor, 9/11, all these things we've let happen in the past. We don't have a really strong rapport with saying that, you know, this is impossible. It's never going to happen. Every time something like this happens, we have our hands in it. Our FBI sets up people and tries to set them up as terrorists. You know, our whole government, for the most part, is corrupt as hell. And I'm mad about it. I know you're mad about it. And all we can do is talk to people and tell people these are the facts. Open your eyes. Do something.
Well, the government pulls stuff like this because the public acts like a bunch of chumps.
Oh, because they're like zombies now. You come to some of these cities now, people are just, they just walk around with their heads down. They're staring at their little handheld telescreens.
About half the people 1 mile from 2 nuclear reactors on 4 fault lines, half the people that we talked to in California didn't know there was a plant called the Devil built on fault lines a mile from them.
It's mind-blowing to know that people are just so dumbed down. It's idiocracy.
It really is. And then meanwhile, those of us that aren't dumbed down, we don't have all the answers, but we at least know what's going on. They then laugh at us because we're informed. I want to ask you a few more questions coming up with Joe Biggs. We got a bunch of other news as well. Stay with us. We're live. It is Thursday.
We're on the march.